So the math standards I had were 5 NBT 5 through 7. So the first one is fluently multiply multi-digit whole numbers using a standard algorithm. And the main idea I took from that is multiply whole numbers that have more than one digit. So students should be able to multiply fluently using the standard algorithm, which would be an example like 50 times 12. You would do 2 times 0 is 0, 2 times 5 is 10, and you bring down a 0, and then 1 times 0 is 0, 1 times 5 is 5, and then you would add 100 and 500 to get 600. 5 NBT 6 is find whole number quotients of whole numbers with up to 4-digit dividends and 2-digit advisors using strategies based on place value, the properties of operations, and or the relationship between multiplication and division. Illustrate and explain the calculation by using equations, rectangular arrays, and or area models. So the main idea I took from that is divide a number with up to 4 digits by a number with 2 digits using various strategies. Show your work by using equations, rectangular arrays, and models. So for that, using equations, I understand how to divide multi-digit numbers because that is how I learned how to do it in school. I know how to do long division pretty quickly, but I personally am not that familiar with area models or rectangular arrays when using them to divide. So that is something that I would like to look into and learn more about. I'm not as familiar with models for multiplication or division. The last one, 5 NBT 7, solve real-world problems by adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing decimals using concrete models or drawings and strategies based on place value, properties of operations, and or the relationship between addition and subtraction or multiplication and division. Relate the strategy to a written method and explain the reasoning used. For that, there are 3 parts underneath that. So part A is add and subtract decimals, including decimals with whole numbers through the hundreds place, and decimals through the hundredths place. B is multiply whole numbers by decimals. So whole numbers, again, through the hundreds place, and decimals through the hundredths place. And C, divide whole numbers by decimals and decimals by whole numbers. And again, whole numbers through the tens place and decimals less than 1 through the hundredths place using numbers whose division can be readily modeled. So an example of that would be 0.75 divided by 5, or 18 divided by 0.6, or 0.9 divided by 3. So the takeaways for that, the main ideas I have are you show the relationship between math and real-world scenarios by using different drawings and tangible models that the students can move, manipulate, and create to better learn and understand how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide whole numbers with fractions and decimals. So you solve the equations that include adding and subtracting numbers that have decimals to the hundredths place and numbers that have both decimals and up to 3-digit whole numbers. You're solving equations that have whole numbers with up to 3 digits and numbers with decimals through the hundredths place. And students should be able to divide whole 2-digit numbers by decimals less than 1 and divide divide decimals less than 1 by 2-digit whole numbers. So for those, I know I am able to solve division equations using, again, standard algorithm because that is how I learned. But different models can be very beneficial for this, especially relating it to real-world scenarios. If you use money, like coins. That can be especially helpful for students that are learning how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide decimals with the 100th place.